What's up, y'all? I'm back. Tammy Talks here. Let's talk Ready to Love Season 5, Episode 13, The Reunion Part 1. I have been MIA with this, but life has been getting to me, y'all. School, work, life, outside being open, just things going on. But I did want to come in. I have still been watching the show, I just have not been able to get up the recaps every week. So I originally was going to wait until after next week and then just do a video on the reunion, both episodes, in one recap. But a lot went on in this one. So let's go ahead and talk about it. If you're brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns on various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. So if you enjoy the type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel, thumbsing up the video, and then hopping into the comment section, y'all. Let's talk about all of this that went on tonight. All right, so the reunion starts off with. Before that, I don't really do outfits over here, and all that kind of stuff. I will say I think Ace looked pretty. Her hair looked pretty. Joy's hair was a lot. I thought those were Joy's. I thought Joy really had dreads. Maybe her hair was big, but she looked pretty. Laverne looked a mess. I didn't like his little short outfit with the matching socks. That's really all I got. Like I said, I didn't really pay too much attention to the outfits. But so the episode starts off with the montage of moments when the cast is having a lot of sexual innuendos with each other, flirtatious, yada yada yada. We get all these scenes of Tori talking about touching people's kidneys. Wiley saying that he was well endowed. Paul offering Carmen his pickle. I think it was it AP talking about her gag reflex, or was that the kids talking about her gag reflex? Carmen said that the cast is just flirtatious, and when you have a lot of people that attractive, engaging with each other, that's just what's gonna happen. Tori said that when a woman starts shaking, you're touching their kidneys, and everybody was like, I don't think that's how anatomy works. So we talk about blind dates. What it's like being on the blind date. We know that this season was different than past seasons, where started off with 7 men, 7 women, and then they added in a blind date every episode or every week for them. So Cornelius said that he was nervous because he didn't know what he was getting himself into at the moment. Carmen said that she wasn't nervous at all. She was ready for it because Carmen has I know people like to look at Carmen as being just someone that has a lot of self confidence, but I get insecure from her because she feels the need to constantly belittle others to make herself feel better and to make herself appear better than she might think people are perceiving her as. Tina said that the process was tedious for her. She was excited about the blind dates initially, but it was tedious going on all these dates and all this, getting to know each other. And she said the process just wasn't for her in the end. Paul felt like every woman was a blind date because until he got to really know you and to sit down and talk to you, you were a blind date to him. So they talk about the beach house with the truth of their game that rocked the world. I'm like, oh, you nibbling on Demetrius' ear to not rock the world, Sabrina, but all right, girl. So they discuss what led up to that moment. How did Sabrina decide that? Sabrina feels that people were making assumptions about her connections. And she said that some of her connections weren't as open as hers and Tori. So she said that Tori was a guy who was very open about his connection with her. So like everybody knew about it. Whereas she had other connections that were kind of flying more underneath the radar, i.e. Demetrius. She said Demetrius and her had a talk earlier that day when they were at that beach house, or the lake house, I should say. They had to talk when they were at the lake house, and he was telling her that if I do this, I want you to do this back to kind of match my energy. But it was more like Demetrius wanted to move in silence, kind of. For me, I guess I'm kind of a person that, why don't you want people to know that you like me? And that was the vibe I always got from Demetrius. Like early on, he didn't want anyone to know who he was feeling or he was liking. It was like he was trying to be very aloof about the situation. But to me, it came like I feel like Demetrius might have been better matched with someone else, but because he was going around acting like he just didn't like anybody, he never got that chance. So Sabrina thinks that Joy added to the embarrassment while calling out Tori. So Joy is like, well, the reason that I did that is because in the last Women's Lounge, right before that, you were talking about Tori emerging. And Sabrina, who is very bitchy, as I've been saying this entire time, she's a very bitchy lady was like, no, that's not what happened. I was talking about Demetrius. Girl, who cares? At some point, you were very open and forefront with Tori. So that's why everybody assumed you would kiss Tori. That didn't add to anybody's embarrassment. What added to his embarrassment is the fact that you were out in the open with him, showing your connection to people, but then you turn around and played him to the left and went and kissed somebody that nobody knew you had a connection with. That's what the embarrassment came from, right? Y'all asses shouldn't have been playing Truth or Dare anyway. Truth or Dare as adults never goes smoothly. It never goes the way that it should. So Sabrina thought that Tori would have been more playful in the moment and be like, oh, okay, girl, I'm gonna get you back. And I'm like, what part of that, why would you even think that? But like I told y'all before, Sabrina is the type of woman who came on here because she wanted to see what men would be fawning over her and like clamoring towards her and doing all this stuff to try to win her attention. So when she wasn't getting the reaction that she initially wanted from people, it's like she lost interest in them, i.e., Tori. So Sabrina says, in hindsight, she should have tapped out and not picked it all and should have taken like the 3 shots or whatever the case, however that was going to go. Demetrius said that he didn't know what route she was going to take. He's confident, but he had also heard rumblings in his ear that, she was having this like deep connection with Tori. Tori said he was very confident that she would pick him, but that's just not how it went. So then Laverne wants to clear up that just so everybody knows, it is not Laverne's fault. We shouldn't have had the game. I stand on that. As an adult at 37 years old, if somebody wants to play Truth or Dare and there are some of my ex-boyfriends there or a guy that I'm talking to now, I'm not playing. Not playing. Because like that's how shit gets started. That's how stuff gets kicked up. So we then move on to Carmen and Demetrius. They are still together and making plans for the future. They like each other. They're still going good. Carmen says she chose Donovan because he makes her laugh and they communicate really, really well. Carmen then talks about her connection with Paul, and she says she didn't know that if Paul was really feeling her when they were out at the beach at the overnight retreat. And in that moment, Donovan really stepped up. Paul said he had several other connections and things were really unresolved in that moment. Donovan said when he went up to the house, his main goal was to rule out people over the weekend. Tina ruled herself out by not showing up, and then Sabrina's actions ruled her out. So that's how Carmen and Donovan got together. To me, that sounds like default. It doesn't sound like y'all picked each other. It sounds like y'all were like, well, I guess, if I'm going to pick you, you going to pick me, so I guess we're together. Like, that's the entire vibe that's the vibe that their entire relationship gave me, at least, throughout the past couple episodes. So we talked to Kia and Eric and that whole scenario. So Dakia said she felt uncomfortable and disrespected because she felt it was inappropriate. So she explains that she was out hanging out with some of the guys out at the club, and they were taking the picture. Donovan hugged her from behind, probably around the waist. She joked, oh, we giving a prom pose. We all know what the prom pose is. So Eric said, okay, I got your prom pose. And apparently he moved his hands. I'm wondering if it gave, like, he went full frontal, or if it was like, a Janet Jackson upper end, very inappropriate. Nonetheless, She says she wants to explain that, or she wants to clarify, she doesn't think Eric is a bad person. She thinks he's a great person, but he shouldn't have done what he did around. I'm sorry, Eric said he thinks that she's a great person, but he feels he shouldn't have done what he did around other people because it led to an air of embarrassment. Embarrassment, not uncomfortability, but embarrassment from Eric. Okay. He said he doesn't think that he misread their connection or that instance at all. And I so basically Eric is feeling like the way that we were rocking, the way that we were moving. No, I felt like things were going great and what I did was, very well justified. So the kid said he's not a bad guy. She doesn't want anybody to think that he's a bad guy. He just misread the situation. He apologizes to her once again. She accepts it, she receives it, she acknowledges it, she takes it, but then she continues to talk afterwards, and that's how you know somebody is truly not accepting an apology. Because if I say I'm sorry and you reply back, it's cool, Tam, don't even worry about it, right? And then you continue to say, but it's just so funny how then you don't accept the apology then. If I apologize to you and you accept it, then that's the end of it. Dead it. Let's not talk about it anymore. But the kid continues to go on, and she said that what really bothered her was the aftermath of him calling other people on the cast and like basically talking shit about her. And she said she wishes the apology would have come sooner. He said, and so this is where Eric gets very cunty, okay? And Eric said that how much sooner can it have come because I text you and apologized to you that night. The kid said yes after you texted me and said that we have nothing more to talk about. So in Eric's eyes, he did not think that he did anything wrong at that moment. So he started to hear from other people that she was feeling away, so that's why he apologized. The kid said that's bull because right when it happened, I turned around, punched you in the chest, told you don't you ever put your hands on me like that again. She verified that with Paul, who said, yeah, that's what you did. That's what you did. So then Eric now claims that she is bringing in other people into the situation and turning it to a thing. And it's like, Eric, you and this lisp, you're being very cunty, you're being very nonchalant about something. If that woman feels that you touched her inappropriately, then you touched her inappropriately. I can't for the life of me understand why you are trying to defend your actions. You groped this woman in public. She's telling you it was inappropriate. You are now trying to make it seem as if you did absolutely nothing wrong. Boy, bye. Oh, like just ridiculous. He also claims that he didn't know she was upset. And I'm like, Eric, we ain't got time for this with you, sir. We don't have time. Go back to cooking for whatever celebrity you are chefing it up for in that moment. But we're not going to play these games. You know what you did was wrong. Instead of you just acknowledging what you did, you have a hint of embarrassment because you didn't think that she would actually come out and say it. And probably that it would make TV. Because now you look like a damn creep. But all right, okay. So then we talk about Sabrina. So Tommy asked her, what did it feel like to have so many connections at one time? Carmen in them blue contacts is backstage hating, like saying a bunch of shit. Girl, I don't like Sabrina, but like my dislike for Carmen runs deeper. And it's because, like I said, Carmen feels the need to always try to make herself feel better by downing other people. Nothing about this segment has anything to do with you. Sabrina has the segment. Are you mad that you didn't have a segment, Carmen? Like, what is the issue? I'm not understanding. So Sabrina said that going from being with somebody who was her ex-husband for 10 years, one person that you're hyper focused on, to now dating, multiple people, it was a bit of an adjustment period for her. Okay? So Tommy asked her Now you had a connection with Donovan. Why do you feel, because they were both recently divorced, why did she feel that Donovan wasn't ready, but she was? She said that it seemed like Donovan was more concerned with his ranking with her than as opposed to like their connection. So she felt that Donovan was more concerned with like just getting through the process, making it out, instead of really building a solid connection with her. Donovan is calling bullshit on that. She also said that Donovan stated that if he would have started the process earlier, he would have been with a different woman. And Tommy said, "Who was that?" She said, "Joy." Backstage, Joy gets mad, and it's like, why are y'all? I don't understand this cast. I don't understand why y'all are backstage getting hot in the box about stuff like this. So he said, "Yeah, if I would have started earlier, I could have got you, Joy." Who cares? You're with Clifton. So why do you care what Donovan is saying? Like, why would you be offended by that? That makes no sense, Joy. Nonetheless, Donovan said that that's bullshit. Precious and Dakia both say, "No, I've heard that too. You told me that too." I said, "Oh, Donovan." Oh, Donovan. That can't be good, right? So, he calls them the Golden Girls because Donovan is very cunty himself too. Donovan has a lot of bitch assness, word to Diddy, inside of him as well. So he calls them the Golden Girls, to which Precious, who has been on a trillion, gets upset about. Precious was out there sweating, all up in here. Her T-zone is sweating, and it's giving more than just the cameras and the lights are hot. Was she drunk? What did we do before? What did we do before we came on stage, guys? Because it all hangs out at the reunion. So we move on away from Donovan because like the Donovan and Sabrina thing is not gonna work, right? It didn't work. They separated, whatever. So Tori said he was hurt after the beach house, but they had an understanding. Sabrina said, "Yeah, we tried to continue with it, but she felt that Tori wasn't fully engaged anymore." Tori said, "No, I wasn't. It's hard for me to be fully engaged when I know that you're picking someone else over me. Like, I want to be with a woman who is fully invested in me." Like I said again, Sabrina started to lose attraction to Tori because Tori wasn't out running after her ass the way that he was initially. So Sabrina is the type of woman that she wants men to be running after her at all costs and chasing her and pursuing her. And when you're not doing it in the and I'm saying aggressive as in like, um I'm saying aggressive in the way of like the constant attention and constant courting. If you're not doing it in that way, then she seems to lose interest in you. So Demetrius said that it stung him that she didn't want to meet his family. So Sabrina's eyes, they had just came from over a rocky time. They were in a rocky place after they left the overnight weekend because Demetrius heard some information about Sabrina and went and talked to his mom about it before her. So Sabrina felt like, "I didn't even get a chance to really talk to you about it. I haven't had a chance to talk to your mom. Like, it's going to be awkward when you just went and told your mom something about us, and now I have to try to come in behind that, and like, it's going to be awkward." Tommy wants to know what he heard. Demetrius heard from Donovan, bitchy, heard from Donovan that him and Sabrina had been hanging out off camera and they had kissed. Demetrius said he was hurt by that. He felt that that should have come from Sabrina herself, which it should have. So he felt the way because of that. Sabrina feels that Donovan did that to try to mess up her and Demetrius' connection. Do I believe that? Kinda. I kinda do. I actually kinda do believe that a little bit. Donovan said that he didn't do it that way. He did it because he respected him and felt like he needed to know. Sabrina said that it was something that happened weeks ago. So the timing of it just kind of makes it look away. Sabrina said that if she can go back and redo it, she would have told him, Demetrius, about kissing Donovan, but then she wouldn't have kissed him at all because even though it was a good kiss, it wasn't worth the trouble. Donovan's bitchy ass agrees, and it's like, I agree, something we can agree on. I just feel like Donovan has like a lot of pent up aggression towards Sabrina, and I think his is coming from the fact that she picked somebody else over you. She was leaning more towards Demetrius over you. So then we have Laverne in this tacky ass little short suit outfit. So Tommy asked him if he's cocky or confident. And Laverne said that he is confident and that there's no line to cross between the two. He said no one took the time to get to know him. They don't even know his middle name. He said he is just somebody that stands in his awesomeness. God doesn't make anybody that's not awesome. Everybody on the stage is awesome and dope. He's just a little doper. I said, okay. So they then asked Ace, did she was she asked to leave? She said no, she left on her own accord because Laverne was her connection. And she wanted to continue cultivating that, but if he was gone, he was gone. They stayed connected after the process, seemingly dated for a little bit, but they're not as connected anymore as they were. And it's because they wanted very different things, and he cannot give her the type of relationship that she wanted. She in turn blocked him on social media. Laverne doesn't understand why. Ace said because when she's looking to cultivate something, she's not going to feed into the ground something that's not going to cultivate back up into her. AKA, I'm not going to waste my time trying to be with a nigga that don't want to be kept. Basically. So Tommy asked, is there a way that they can fix what is going on? Laverne said anything can be fixed. Ace said to be determined. That's a very nice way on camera to say no thank you. That's what that is. So then we have the whole situation with how Laverne handled his the situation with how Laverne handled his You're Not Ready to Love, his being removed from the show. So he said that he heard from Precious that Carmen, Tina, and Sabrina had employed to vote him out. Tina said, what? Because we know Tina didn't have no damn employee. Tina was trying to vote herself out. So she ain't had time to be worried about trying to get nobody else out. Laverne said that he did call and apologize to Sabrina, which she said he did, because of how things went down. Precious said the issue is that she told Ace that Carmen called Tina, who did not answer, and Sabrina, who said that she wasn't going to be in on that because her and Laverne didn't have a romantic connection anyways. So Carmen is in the back, not quite denying it, but kind of making it like kind of giving a Camille face from last season to let you know I didn't do anything. So Precious said that the real issue is that Laverne made it seem like Ace was spreading all this drama in this business, and she was on the phone with Tina and Ace, and she cussed out Ace, and she's yelling at Ace. When it's kind of like, well, there's two. I see two different sides to this. One, Precious, if that was the situation, you should have went right to the source, which would be Laverne, if you felt like you absolutely had to tell him. But you going through and telling Ace what you heard, like you started this whole chain of events of you telling, basically spreading a rumor. So like Precious, you should be mad at yourself because you should have never got involved in that messy bullshit in the first place. And then two, Laverne, you're a little too upset to be removed from a process in which you really weren't connecting with anybody anyways. My whole thing is I'm so confused how these people all live in the same area seemingly, how y'all are acting like because you're off the show that you just lose their phone number and they don't exist anymore. You got kicked off the show, Laverne? Okay, call Ace. You have her phone number. Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me. So Laverne is saying that Laverne is saying that Precious did tell him that, and don't be mad at him because he's just, receiving this information. Precious, who is clearly on some type of upper, is going in about how he lied on national television. And it's like, y'all are arguing over what? The fact that when y'all should be mad at, or Laverne, you should be mad if it's true, at the fact that Carmen and her blue contacts were trying to set in motion a plan to get you kicked off the show. Why are you mad at Precious for being the messenger? Precious, why are you mad at Laverne? Because he received information and he repeated what he said back. What difference does that make? Like, how are you mad about that? Precious, you should have never got involved in that. If you found out there was a ploy to send somebody home, eat your food, mind your business. Don't worry about that because it has nothing to do with you, especially since it's not even like Laverne was one of your connections, and clearly he wasn't that close of a friend to you, because if so, you would have called him yourself and told him what was going on. You see what I'm saying? So, but that was Ready to Love, the reunion. Let me know how you guys felt about the reunion part one. Part two, where Precious is calling Demetrius a bitch. It's going to be a juicy one. I'm going to do my very best to make sure the video is up by Friday, if not Saturday. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.